I, 38F, have just found out the man I thought was my father is not my biological father through Ancestry DNA testing. I'm taking another test just to receive all data and potentially find more answers. I believe my dad, who raised me my entire life and is my best friend, does not know. I'm seeking advice on whether or not I should confront my mom. Very long story short, I found out through a series of letters and gifts from a stranger that my mom had an affair and that was the reason for my parents' divorce. This stranger had always been in the periphery of my life. I recall lunches with him and my mom as a little girl after the divorce. When he began reaching out, I was away for college. When I asked my dad who he was, he told me that's the man your mom cheated on me with, and I learned the real story. I asked why the stranger would send me money and letters and point blank asked both my parents if he was my bio dad. My dad said he didn't know. My mom said absolutely not. My relationship has never been the same with my mom, and only gotten closer and better with my dad. Lo and behold, this man appears to be my biological father. It changes nothing about my feelings for my dad. If anything, I love him more. The only one who may know the truth here is my mom. I'm wondering what my next steps should be. I want to cause the least amount of pain to everyone involved. Unfortunately, I'm in quite a bit of it. I have a therapist. I am a therapist. This is completely new territory. I guess I always suspected or had a gut intuition this could be true, but I feel totally blindsided. Do I confront my mom to get the whole truth? I want to have children. What if there are genetic or medical things I need to know? I don't want to hurt my dad in all of this. He is truly my best friend. I really appreciate this particular sub and would appreciate any advice or lived experience. Please be kind. I'm feeling a lot right now. Thank you. TL. Doctor, did Ancestry DNA testing and found out my dad isn't my biological dad. Wondering if I should confront my mom to find out whole truth. Edit. I want to thank everyone for your kindness and advice. I can see all sides, so I will definitely be taking my time and weighing all options. To answer some questions, my main thought in asking my mom is to get some closure for myself. I had always never understood why this stranger would be allowed in my life when my dad and I were always so close. Why not keep up the lie? It seems additionally cruel and confusing to do this to a child and former partner. However, I love my mom, though we aren't as close due to lack of trust. I'm still sorting through what I would gain and what she would lose in telling her. I have no interest in a relationship with bio dad. I know he has at least one son. I truly don't care, honestly. I'm only concerned with medical/genetic issues for myself and future child. Thank you to the scientists suggesting tests that could do this. Your dad said I don't know. He has suspected before. I don't think he cares if you are. I know he's your BFF, but can you just not share that you pursued getting medical history from the other guy? I don't know if you need to say anything to your mom. She knew. Work on that with your therapist for a while. I think he knows. I think he is holding on to the shadow of hope that you are his BO child because he wants it to be true. I don't think you should tell him. You say he's your dad and you love him no matter what. Let him believe the lie, don't take that hope from him. I agree with the others who suggest holding on to this information for a while and living with your knowledge before making any decisions. Come to terms with it yourself. But ask yourself what you want to have happen now that you know this. What do you want to change? Do you want a different relationship with your bio dad? You already know your mom caused problems years ago and you actually love and have a healthy relationship with your dad. If it were me, I wouldn't share the information. It's self-serving and will do nothing but cause further harm and suffering. This is exactly what I came here to say. Sharing it will do nothing but shatter your dad's heart and potentially damage your relationship with him. It's doubtful it will help anything with your mom or bio dad. I would venture to guess that your bio dad has known all along. This happened to me. It's called NPE, non-parent/paternity event. What truth are you looking for? It seems like you know the facts already. Are you just looking for the story behind it? I'm gonna warn you right now though, most NPEs have issues with getting the truth out of their mothers. I'm in a Facebook group for it. My own mother said stuff like I thought he was your father and it all seemed like a dream. I've still never gotten the full truth out of her, and it's been almost 2 years. I had to move on with the facts as I know them, and learn to deal with it that way. Thank you so much for this, and I'm sorry for your experience as well. I suspect this is exactly how my mom would handle it. When we discussed the affair, and my feelings of having been lied to about it outright, that is, I begged your dad to come home instead of I did something horrible, she continuously made me feel dumb for inquiring. I asked why the stranger would send me money and letters and point blank asked both my parents if he was my bio dad. My dad said he didn't know. I agree that you should sit with this for a bit, but I think I'd say to my dad I've been thinking about getting a DNA test just to know, though of course it'd always be my real dad. Would you want to know the results of the test? It sounds like he already knows it's a very real possibility, but he's had decades now to test for paternity and never pushed for it, so maybe he really would just rather not know. If he never got tested, I presume he chose not to know and doesn't want to, but Op should keep it with them. Write out the different outcomes and how you would handle it. I think pursue this and possibly seek out the man who you suspect is your bio father first and ask him to also take a DNA test. That way you'll have the actual proof rather than relying from a confession, which may not happen, from your mother. My mother also discovered who she thought was her bio dad wasn't and sought out her bio father. He and his brothers were welcoming of her, but his adult children weren't. Affair related also. It wasn't the emotional reunion one might see on TV, but I think my mom was at least glad to know the truth. He is in his 90s. My mother wasn't close at all to the father figure, and my mother's mother passed away many years ago. She also denied a previous query on who the bio father was. Sounds like for you, you're worried about pushing away your father, but it also sounds like your relationship is a strong one and would be okay. I think given that this is very new to you, I think I'd be inclined to just sit with it for a little while for your own emotions to settle a bit. This has been an issue for almost 40 years, so you can take a little time before you need to do anything. If it will help you to feel better, then I'd personally be inclined to inform my mother of the DNA results and see what her reaction is and what she has to say. You should also consider telling your father, while being clear, that this changes nothing about how you view him, and he will always be your father, the man who raised you, and has been there for you. Thank you very much for your response. I agree. I'm not in any rush. What will be resolved by confronting mom? What will be resolved by telling dad? I think nothing, in both cases, unless you want to pursue a relationship with bio dad openly. If your dad is your dad, there is no reason to upset him. Your mom has to know it's a possibility, yet vehemently denies it. What happens when you tell her? It's really all pointless. What will be resolved by confronting mom? To get some clarity and understanding, and improve the relationship. Mom point blank lied to Op, and now their relationship has deteriorated because of the lack of trust. Now there is an opportunity for mom to come clean. Also, Op disagrees with some of mom's decisions, but is open to hearing mom's reasoning for making those choices. So they have a chance to repair their relationship. So Op has a lot to gain by confronting mom and a lot to lose by saying nothing. The term for finding out this sort of information this way is NPE, for non-paternity eventual, not parent expected. If you're looking for others with similar experiences for dinner perspective as well. My friend followed her DNA/ancestry and connected with half-sibling. Is that something you're interested in? Do you want just the medical data? Do you want the backstory of your parentage and genetics? I've been in this position. Dad and I decided we don't care. We joke about it. That's my dad. I'm his daughter. No further explanation. You can always do basic genetic testing for major health concerns prior to getting pregnant. Or even prior to deciding to have kids. Or you can roll the dice. Plenty of families without major health concerns have kids every day with recessive or latent traits. You just never know. Sit on the information for a bit. Your parents are already divorced, and your dad clearly knows there's a chance. Your mom is in denial. I don't know that there is any good to come from sharing this information, but it is good to have it for yourself. If you decide there's more you really need to know, you're going to have to tell your mom you confirmed it, and that you're going to reach back out to the biodad. It would be prudent at this time to have dinner with the dad who raised you and tell him that it in no way changes the way or amount you love him, but that you confirmed you're not his biological child. Without knowing him, I can't say for sure, but it could bring him some peace too. Confronting your mom serves no purpose. 38 years ago there was no easy way to confirm DNA. Everyone already knows about the affair and both your parents can guess whose DNA you share. It doesn't change anything in your life and can only serve to hurt your dad and bring back painful memories of the affair. I have a 5-year-old son with my ex. We divorced when I discovered her cheating. I know there's a chance he might not be mine, but I'll never take a test for myself. It'd be nice to have confirmation he's mine, but no, I'm an imperfect person and can't say for certain it won't color how I act around him if he's not, however little that change might be, and so taking a test to satisfy my own curiosity wouldn't be fair to him. I love him and will continue to love him regardless, but I feel I'm a better dad to him thinking he could be mine rather than knowing he's definitely not. I'm not sure I've explained right, but ultimately I'd prefer he has a consistent parent. My feelings come second. Your dad has said he's unsure if you're his BO child. That means he's elected to not take a test and may share similar feelings to myself. However, I want my son to be able to come to me with anything for support, comfort, and advice and would never get in his way. This is beautiful, and you are a wonderful dad. Same thing happened to me, and at the same age. Yes, talk to your mom. She owes you answers. You should also tell your dad, because he does deserve to know, although I suspect he knows deep down, and his feelings for you won't change. Also consider getting to know your BO dad. Think about it for a bit. This guy who you now know is your father. He is sending you gifts and is getting involved in your life in small ways. Why? Well, simple. He knows too. Just as your mother obviously knows too, but will not admit it out loud. Your dad, though, he has decided that you are his. Honor that choice by letting him be your dad still. I'm so sorry. I would continue to distance myself from your mother and her affair partner, since they were selfish as and focus on your dad and your own life. You don't owe those unfaithful jerks anything. Your dad deserves your time and attention. Here's the thing about horrible secrets. If the victim of the secret finds out you knew and didn't tell them, they will hate you. Or at best, it will 100% seriously damage your relationship. Think how shitty, helpless and worthless you'd feel if everyone but you knew some life-altering secret like this and nobody ever told you. And I guarantee your dad will find out. Secrets like this never stay hidden for long. Your only move is to just rip off the band-aid and tell your dad what you know as soon as possible and just let the pieces fall where they may. Even if it doesn't go well, the consequences are on your mom for cheating, not on you for exposing the truth. And this is the best case scenario for keeping your relationship with your dad. It really gets me tight how all the women are saying hide it from her dad. Hiding would just make the daughter just as bad as her mother. Your dad is your dad. It doesn't need to be confirmed on his end whether he is your dad or not. To him you're his little girl. You can confront your mom if you want to, but it's not going to change the dynamic in any way. The only way I'd want to know the truth is if you wanted a relationship with the other man or not. Since it sounds like you don't, just let it be. Seems she would like some information at least. Here is my advice from also uncovering an ancestry secret. Go slow, take your time, allow it to ingest before meeting people, confronting people, especially your mom. Get over the high emotions, let it sink in, find peace with it all, and then decide next steps. Let dad know he will always be your daddy period. But also communicate with him when time is right. Honestly, I would give this a year before acting on it, but also see if you want to. You could dig up issues you don't wanna know, but may also get good medical info as you mentioned. Examine the back quote why, and decide slowly. That's my advice. Oh, and remember, we all make mistakes in life. If your mom has cheated, a drunken night out, whatever, just find peace and forgive her before talking with me. Also a nugget of advice. There is no such thing as least amount of pain when it comes to emotions. Every person deals with it differently. For you it might not be an issue, but for someone else it is an issue. Personally, I will let everyone know, mother and father, I would have wanted to know the truth and I would be very upset if a person I know knew the truth and never told me because they think it will hurt my feelings. They have no right to make that call. What you can tell your father, that you can ensure him, that you will always see him as your father. You know what is your relationship with your father, so you know exactly what to tell him. Be vulnerable with him. It is the best way to make it genuine. I understand that Ancestry DNA testing is not as accurate as a full paternity test. Perhaps you should do that before proceeding. I think that you should tell your dad. Yes, it will hurt him. Yes, it may hurt your relationship. But from what you write, I expect he already knows. Good luck. I had never met my bio dad or his family until I did the Ancestry DNA thing and got matched with them. I've exchanged emails or chatted with some of them. Anyway, my bio half-sister recently told me our dad passed away from a specific disease and his brother, our uncle, also had it and was terminal. I told my doctor at my last appointment and he ordered some tests for me and said ongoing monitoring will be part of my health routine from now on. All this to say, it's important to know your bio father's health history. I would never have known I need to watch for this otherwise. Thank you for sharing this perspective. I'm so glad you have all the information for your health's sake. You need to have a serious conversation with your mom that is tucked up on so many levels. As a man, I would want to know, period. I know people on here are saying don't tell him, but I completely disagree with that. He will still love you. Anyone who truly loves their father should tell him. Why keep something so important a secret? That, in my mind, is disrespectful to a point I can't really even understand. Life can be messy. This situation is definitely an example of it. I don't agree with most commenters, however. As a therapist, you probably tell your clients to be truthful. I think you know why, and here you are sitting on critical information and you won't share that with your dad, who you love. Your dad is not a toddler, and even if he was, I don't see a reason to withhold critical information to him. You should definitely plan on how you will communicate this to him, but I think the right thing to do is to communicate what you know, if it is indeed right. How much risk are you willing to take to shatter the relationship that you have with your father? He might see you only as a product of your mother's infidelity.